Matter Hatter
Bonkers.
Hello, this is RJ Arnold hosting an interview of Matter Hatter Pro. Welcome to our audience, and today we are interviewing world-renowned numerologist and astrologist, Mr. Lloyd Strayhorn. How are you, sir?
How you doing, RJ?
All right, how you feeling today?
Fine. Thank you.
right,
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being a part of this. This is an honor that we are interviewing you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to get right into it. This is great. Another blessed day for us. Thank God that you're well, and we're all well here. You grew up in Harlem.
That's right. I'm a product of Harlem, live in Harlem, love Harlem, learned in Harlem, made my bones in Harlem, or whatever they say. So this is a beautiful, beautiful community. In fact, ironically, when people come from all over the world to visit New York City, Harlem is one of the most sought after tourist attractions. The churches, all of the monuments and other things right here in this community.
Yes, and we have all the Harlems of the world in America as well as global, and this is such a historical place and beautiful place. So please make sure you come to Harlem. Go from uptown side all the way to downtown, east, west, north, and south. Now you have influenced so many people to not just deal with their zodiac signs, but also to deal with numerology. Tell us, how did you get involved in numerology and astrology, and who were your influences?
Well, to go backwards, my basic influence was the numerous books that I have. I have countless books on the subject. But as coming up as a kid, I was very shy. And in my shyness, I wanted to kind of figure out who I was, which was my introduction to astrology. And then I started finding out about my particular sign. But then over time, I learned that everybody wanted to know about their signs. And then from there, it graduated to the next stage, which is the numerology. And imagine a world, RJ, without numbers. When you get up in the morning, how can you tell what time it is? How do you know when to go to bed? How can you make a call, get a call? You can't do anything without numbers. But then I learned there was an esoteric side to numbers too, called numerology. So what I did over time was I blended best of both worlds into astrology and numerology. So let's say you got somebody born July the 12th, right? Well, astrologically, they know that they are a Cancer, but until they meet me, they know they're a sign and a number 2. So a person born July the 12th would actually be a number 3 person, because 1 plus 2 is 3. So they says, well, I'm a Cancer. Okay, well, let's say we got another Cancer and they're born July the 20th, right? So they are astrologically under the sign of Cancer, but numerically they would be a number 2 person. So 2 plus 0 equals 2. That's the beauty of numerology. That's what got me hooked. The numbers only go from 1 to 9. You don't go higher than that. So if a person says, well, Lord, what about 10? Well, 1 plus 0 is back to 1. What about 11? 1 plus 1 is back to 2. So this method of adding in numerology is called the Fadic system, F-A-D-I-C. In other words, if you have 2 or more numbers, you got to keep reducing them until you got one number. So let's say hypothetically there's a number 163. Well, 1 plus 6 plus 3 equals 10. Because there's still 2 numbers, you got to keep adding, so 1 plus 0 is 1. And that's what led me on this journey to writing books and doing lectures and radio and television appearances, because everybody is fascinated about not only their zodiac sign, but their number. So to give you an example, each of these signs and numbers are ruled by an element. So going back to the first illustration of July the 12th, that is a water sign, but it is a fire number. Okay, so it means it is sensitive, intuitive, and passionate. So let's say the second example we gave, which was July the 20th. They are a water sign with a water number, which makes them doubly sensitive, doubly emotional, doubly intuitive about things. So this is why all Cancerians are not the same. This is why all Geminis are not two-faced. You know, every sign got some stereotype to it.
Yes.
Geminis get the bad rap, but Geminis are pretty good people. But they all are. But it's by learning the numbers and the signs that you can begin to modify things. And so that's how I got on this journey, and it's been a wonderful ride ever since.
Yeah, and we thank you for that. I learned more about what you've done from listening to Brother Gary Imhotep Bird, because I noticed year for year you always predicting the years and relationships, and you have a great book, Numbers in You, and we thank you for that. But you've been on numerous shows, Oprah Winfrey, Montel Williams, Regis and Kelly, and you've been able to influence so many people. What is the importance of numbers as well as the signs when it comes down to someone who's looking to better themselves in any career endeavor, whether it's music, film, human services, or health?
Well, you know, that's a good question, RJ, because what I do is each zodiac sign and each number from 1 to 9 is broken into elements. And these are the elements supposed in nature. So let's say you have water, which was the example we gave for Cancerians. We know that that represents intuitions, feelings, emotions, sympathy, empathy, kindness, things like that. Then next would be the fire signs, which would be those who are passionate, those who are driven, those who are what they call fired up, okay? In other words, I hear what you're saying, but look, what are we going to do? Then you got the air signs, the air elements that rule the mental faculties. They're all about reasoning and questioning and analysis and things of that nature. And then you have the earth elements, which they like to keep grounded. Let's keep it real. Let's keep both feet on the ground. So it's in understanding these elements. So for example, when I got into numerology, let's say you take this famous couple, Angela Bassett and her husband, Courtney Vance, right? Well, in astrology, she's a Leo, born August 16th. He's a Pisces, which is water, that's born March the 12th, ironically. But what happens is, if I look at the signs initially as an astrologer, well, Angela Bassett is a fire, and Courtney Vance is water. So therefore, these elements are not supposed to mix. But when I got into numerology, it cleared it up, because Angela Bassett is born on the 16th of August. 1 plus 6 is 7.
7, right.
Well, 7 rules the element of water.
Wow.
Courtney Vance is born on the 12th of March. Well, 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 rules fire. So therefore, I can understand. So she has a fire sign matching his fire number, and she has a water number matching his water sign. So then I began to understand the exceptions to the rules. Because if I went straight on astrology, I would say, oh, no, they shouldn't get along at all. But yet, everybody knows they're the tightest couple in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So it's these kinds of things where you see these exceptions to the rule. So that's when numerology really modified or shade how things work out. So now I can understand why nations get along, some nations do not. Some people get along, and some people do not. And because they don't get along, it doesn't mean it's bad, as that person has to be as true to themselves as that other person wants to be as true to themselves. And once you bring both those energies and understanding together, that's what makes for a difference, okay? So like, for example, in the days of our parents and grandparents, they worked on the vows for richer or poorer, in sickness or health, for better or worse. Well, they didn't know nothing about no zodiac signs, and they didn't know nothing about no numbers. It was one of those days where they had to take those vows. Fast forward to the 21st century, then there's prenups, and prenups of the prenups, and now you got dating sites, now you got astrological sites. So things have changed differently. But the point is that even if you are a different sign, unlike the other person you're interested in, or a different number, unlike the other person you're interested in, it all has to do with the attitude of the mind that you're going into a relationship with. But I think we've accustomed to, well, this is how I do it, and if you don't like it that way, you go back to your mother. Well, that doesn't give that other person a chance. One time a client told me, Well, I dated a Scorpio, and I'm never going to date a Scorpio, but that's not fair to just because that one Scorpio, but there are other Scorpios that have variances of different numbers, and then when you go deeper into astrology, where's their moon, where's their ascendant, where is their Mars? So for example, if a woman wants to know about a relationship, she will find out what planet is in my Mars, sitting in my Mars, because that will tell the kind of man. And thus, a guy, if he wants to know about the type of woman, he needs to know what planet is sitting in his house of Venus. And so when this book came out, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, is a very successful book. That's what it's about. So it's very in-depth, although when you read most newspapers, they make it very superficial, and it is. So that's why they need to go to a professional like myself or other people so they can really go more in-depth and see the nuances.
So how does one use numerology and astrology as a guide to better his or her life or their family?
RJ, I love your questions, okay? Because with numerology, it's a matter of timing. For example, everybody's heard the phrase, that person was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, numerology helps a person be in the right place at the right time in perfect harmony with the universe. So for example, let's go back to the first example, July the 12th, okay? So to me, this person is a 3 because 1 plus 2 is 3, and each number is assigned a day. So out of all 7 days, Thursday is that person's best day. Then they come under the constellation of Cancer, and that is ruled by the moon, which governs Monday. So Monday and Thursday, and then because there are other astrological components, and Fridays are the best days. So if a person who was born on July the 12th came to me and says, Lloyd, what's the best day for me to go on this appointment? I would tell them they should aim for Thursday first, because that's their best day, then next then Monday or Friday. So the way the calendar would work, it would say Monday, Thursday, Friday, to ask for a raise, to take a test, to apply for a job, to go before a judge, whatever the case may be. Now let's take another person, the second example, July the 20th. Well, that person being a water sign, now their numbers are the 2, 7, and 6. Therefore, the 2 rules Monday and the 6 rules Friday. Therefore, that would be their best days. So let's say you got these two as a couple or partners or whatever the case is. It tells me that Monday would be the common day for both of them. So when they want to get their heads together, when they want to be on the same page, late Sunday night into Monday would be the best days for them to do it, and in a minor way Friday, because Friday would be July 12th, one of their best days too. So Mondays and Fridays would be the best days. You would be surprised how this makes a difference in relationships, the timing, and everything like that.
So how does someone use this book, use this guide, as well as prayer and meditation on days that may not be their best days? What advice would you give anyone?
Well, first of all, it is also important to know what days work against the person. So for example, we'll go back to July 12th, so because I want to stay focused, I know that if the 3, 2, and 7 are their best numbers, the opposition numbers would be the 5, 8, and 9. Therefore, Saturday and Tuesday and Wednesday would be more challenging to them. So let's say this person is entering into a partnership or business arrangement with the July 20th. Well, their opposition numbers would be the 8 and the 9, which means Tuesday and Saturday. So therefore, if I was one of those demonic or, bad astrologers or numerologists that want you to, pick a bad day, I say y'all should go to this meeting on a Tuesday. Let's say the person goes to apply for a job, man, they'll come out with, a pink slip or something of that nature. So timing is very important. So and you know what makes it rare, RJ? Everybody always asks me about the best numbers, but they never ask me about challenging numbers, which you did. That I think is interesting, because that's why they'll say, oh, that person was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So if a person on July 12th want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, they should do their most important events on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, as these are their stress days. And for the one that's born July the 20th, theirs would be Tuesday and Saturday. Those would be it. So I wouldn't tell a couple, with this example we're using of July 12th or July 20th, don't go on a Tuesday to sign no contract. Tuesday works against that person and Tuesday works against that other person. Not unless I was one of those kind of warped kind of persons that don't want you to succeed. So that's it. And there's always ethics in this game. That's what I teach in my classes in City College, for example, where I've taught my lectures and whatnot. There's always ethics in this group, and you got to be correct with people.
How long have you been teaching numerology and astrology? As well as
Got to
ethics
be
at
at least
college?
30 years plus,
Mhm.
and I love it.
Okay, that's great. And the students, when they come back to you or family members, do they make any referrals? Do they share their success stories? What were the success stories that they shared? Whether it's career, whether it's family, whether it's taking
Well, one
trips
of them
or
has
vacations?
been in relationships.
Okay,
Relationships are very important. Every couple that has come to me for a date for marriage is still married. There's only one couple that is not, and only because the spouse passed away. Other than that, and what I do when I get the two together, I look for the common glue, that which connects them together. So in the case again of the example we've been using of July 12th, July 20th, I know that there are common months they share, which would always be March, July, and December. So if they say, well, Lloyd, when should we get engaged? When would you plan for marriage? I would say anywhere between late February moving into March, late June moving into July, and late November moving into December. And these would be common days, and especially on a date that adds up to a 2 or a 6, as this person has that number that they share in common too. So so these couples have been together. Now let's say, for example, we got unlike couples where I'm doing their numbers and none of them have a number in common. I'm going to always go with the woman. The woman is the foundation. What they don't call this father nature, they call this mother nature.
Yes,
they don't call it the fathership, they call it the mothership, okay?
That's right.
So the mother, and it's the woman that brings life into the world, so I'm going to always, if I see a couple that don't have the same numbers, I'm going to always set it around the mother. The mother builds a family. We protect the family, but it's the mother that raised the family, and therefore protects a man too.
Wow. Tell us, in your experiences, name some notable people, whether it's arts, music, or activism, or in the political world, that has asked you for your advice, and they've actually had so much success, and they've won in whether it's relationships, whether it's business, as well as health. Give us some
I won't go into
examples.
all the great
Give us some
details, but I
examples.
can tell you this. At one time I went to a play, or off-Broadway play, and the person invited me backstage to talk to them, and it was Denzel Washington.
Wow.
He's born on December 28th. His wife is born on the 28th. They married on the 28th. Their firstborn, that's now a famous actor in his own right, was also born on the 28th, okay? Then I met the likes of Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J, Beyonce, when she was with Destiny Child's 4, not 3, but 4. Then I met Quincy Jones, Tamia. I met Aaliyah, the singer Aaliyah. I met Barry White. Barry White. Now Barry White was into numerology. Okay,
Wow.
so I mean the celebrities I've met up until Lettucey, for example. So I mean, it's like, do you have time for me to tell you all the people I met? It's like that. But I've been blessed to meet a whole host of people. I met RuPaul when he was dressed as a guy. Okay. I mean, I've met all kinds of people. Maya Angelou, Jill Scott. I mean, it's just, there's just so many in my head. James Ingram, Patty Austin, Patti LaBelle,
Wow.
Bill Cosby. I mean, I've met all these people and read them. Now, will some remember me? Who knows? But some will remember me more than others because it was very emphatic. But the point is, I've been blessed to meet people that I don't think I would have met under any other circumstance. Of course, I met Oprah Winfrey. I was invited on her show 3 times. So it's just very, very nice. And it's just, I've been very blessed through this metaphysical art to meet some very outstanding people, because no matter who it is, RJ, everybody wants to know a little something about themselves.
That's
They
true.
can't help it.
Mr. Strayhorn, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's looking to study and understand numerology and astrology and clear up any kind of misconceptions as far as utilizing this as a guide other than the higher power or their religion? What would you say?
It's interesting you mentioned religion because that's what I was going to say. There are those religious bodies, there are few, who feel that what I do goes against the laws of God. And I tried to explain that in the world of religion, religion is a belief. This is why man go to war with each other. My God is better than your God. No, my God is better than your God. So we're going to talk this out. And here's how I put it to people who have those feelings. And I'll tell them this way. In astrology and numerology, it is an ancient African science. Science is totally different than a belief. You can believe something all day long, but you don't have to make it a fact. Well, with science, it is a fact, okay? So when a person comes to you or want to get an astrology chart done, every single person on the planet must submit to that astrologer the month they're born, the day they're born, the year they're born, the time they're born, and the location. They don't come any other way. They don't come with no color codes, okay? But these are the kinds of things that makes it interesting. And then when I point to, and in fact, when I take a page from the Bible, under the Old Testament, the fourth book of Moses, called the book of Numbers. Now, I didn't make that up. Where God instructed Moses on the second day of the second month to name the army by their name and their poll. Now, in the Nation of Islam, when they talked about the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 disciples in the Bible, well, if you go to the Old Testament, the fourth book of Moses, all the 12 tribes' numbers are listed in the book. They're a long set of numbers, but if you want to know the number, which tribe you came from, that number is described. And then some of the religious people get upset when I says, name me a war since Cain killed Abel in the Bible, the first murder supposedly, that has been fought in the sign of Cancer. They can't name me one. Not one. As long as there's been human history, they cannot name me a war fought in the name of a zodiac sign. Okay? Or the number 2. They can't. They can't. So my attitude, as long as I am doing this, at least what I do don't kill nobody. At least what I do don't cause people to go to wars and take people off the planet.
What does it mean to see the same number?
These are called angel numbers. In other words, people will get up and certain numbers will occur to them. Now, in my book, Numbers in You, I have a chapter called The Subconscious, Numerology and the Subconscious, that if a person sees a number, the most popular number that people seem to see is 1111. Okay? Well, first of all, in numerology, 11 is a master number repeated twice. 11 plus 11 is 22, which is also considered a master number. So in numerology, the master numbers are 11 and 22. Subconsciously, it means that the person may be an Aquarius or thinking about an Aquarius or Leo or Gemini, or they may be thinking about a person born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month, because all those numbers add up to either a 1 or a 4, because there are certain numbers that are tied like pairs, like, they're glued at the hip, so to speak. Okay. Subconsciously, if it's a yes or no, it says no is the answer to the question, but it might turn into a yes later. Subconsciously, it also means that this person is trying to build and be more independent and get their lives more structured and organized and stuff like that. This stuff is fascinating.
This is phenomenal. This is great. I'm sure our audience is going to continue to love more about what you do. Tell us, what do you do as far as giving back to people, giving back to the world? How do you give back to children and youth in our community, especially in Harlem?
Well, it's one thing. One of the things I've done is countless lectures in schools, and I love to teach children. Children are more open and receptive. They're not jaded yet as we become adults to become opinionated, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Children are more open like sponges. So I've taught children, but what I've done now is about teaching adults. Every adult should know something about numerology. Not that they have to do it as I do as a living, but to have basic knowledge so when they come before a person, they can come before that person with understanding. So on my website, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com, I have 2 online classes. One for the beginners called Learn from Lloyd, How to Read a Person Like a Book. And then I have a second one called Learn from Lloyd, The Next Step in Numerology for Intermediate and Advanced. Okay? So when they go to my website, they can sign on and register and learn about it. The nice thing is they will have access to me because if they got a question, I'll respond back in kind. So since we cannot avoid numbers, why don't we embrace them, you know? And I tell people if they don't believe in numbers, send me your paycheck. I've yet to get somebody's paycheck, okay?
Okay.
So somebody believes in some kind of numbers.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you for coming to Matter Hatter Pro.
Thank you,
This is
RJ.
RJ Arnold, your host for Matter Hatter Pro. And we'd like to also thank our executive director and producer, Carmel Farrell. We're signing out. Blessings to you and yours out there. And remember, stay focused on whatever you do and keep God first in everything that you do.
Thank you.
I wanted to go in some more.